Hello, happy Thursday. I am a day late. I typically go live on Wellness Wednesdays in my practice to discuss anything like topic health and wellness. And so I am currently working on putting a bunch of these videos up on a YouTube channel in light of I'm writing a book and we're trying to kind of just build an audience over on YouTube. And so if you have any interest in following along, I have a YouTube channel. I'm going to post the link here. I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be amazing. And it's just very educational in nature and hope to provide some value. If you have anyone in your life that is struggling with their health or their body or their food or their weight or their eating, I would love to be a resource for them, and it's free. So hop over onto that YouTube channel. I will put the link again here. So today we're going to talk about, I'm at the end of my workday, I'm going to talk about what does normal eating look like. I think in our society, we definitely have just so many types of eaters out there. There's so many approaches to food. And so I want to just tread really lightly on this because eating can be a really sensitive terrain. Eating can be very close to home. If this is something that you have struggled with or have just someone in your life that struggled with, I am not here to push a certain potion or product or program. I think every body is different and every person interaction with food is to be individualized. I think it's impossible to say that one plan is good for you, so it's good for everybody. I think that's really, really hard to do. I think there's theories, and I definitely think there's principles that can be timeless when it comes to food. And that is where I'm interested in, is just these principles of normal eating can be applied to any dietary lifestyle. And so and they also can be principles that you can apply to other areas of your life, like relationships or business or finances, for lack of better words. So again, I'm Dr. Patty Ann Ford, and I, at its simplest, work with people to shift their unhealthy habits of thinking to healthy habits of thinking in their relationships and their health and in their business. So normal eating can look differently for everybody. At its best, it is going to the table hungry and walking away full. That's so simple, right? How many of you have eaten at a table for your last meal? How many of you actually sat down at a table with a fork and a plate and a knife and sat and ate and didn't watch your phone, didn't watch TV, didn't do anything else, but just ate your food? That's a really hard concept because we either are working. I'm a working parent, so I get it. I'm not saying that I do all of the table eating all of the time. I have a working lunch 95% of the time. How many of you actually just sit and eat? And if you've been to any other culture, if you've been to Europe, or if you've been to even maybe underdeveloped nations, they will sit and eat meals. The American society has lost this art of valuing the family meal. Now, I'm not saying everybody. I think there are definitely cultures within our culture, microcultures, that can definitely prioritize family meals. But it's really, really hard if you have 2 kids, if you have 4 kids, if you have 5 kids, if you have kids in sports. It's literally impossible to get everyone home at the table and eat a meal 7 days a week. But what has happened to where we have made it so impossible? What would happen if you just one day a week shifted to sitting at the table, approaching the table hungry, eating, stopping when you're full, and then walking away? What would that look like? Does that feel so foreign? Does that feel so hard? Does that feel so difficult? Or it's just not a priority? There is a lot of research that looks at how emotional development, emotional IQ can really, really mature in children when they have the ability to talk to adults in a very productive, safe, healthy conversations around the dinner table. I think the study was the frequency of meals that were productive and safe led to more emotionally mature adults later in life, which is actually a fabulous study to look at. Another concept of normal eating is sometimes eating more because it tastes so good, and then sometimes leaving some on the plate because you know you're going to have some more later. How many of you are feeling guilty if you overeat, or feel like, oh, I've just been so bad, I shouldn't have eaten that, or I'm going to be bad, I'm going to have dessert? That type of language suggests that your morality is dependent upon what you eat, which couldn't be farther from the truth. You can't eat wrong, you can't eat bad, you can't eat good. You either eat or you don't. And so trying to define your morality on your food can stem from kind of ways of thinking that your worth is dependent upon what you eat. And that's all subconscious. Typically, most people don't think that in their frontal cortex, but it's a very subconscious pattern of thinking. And then most likely, you're projecting that on other people, where you might judge what they're eating. Like, oh my gosh, how is that? That's so gross that they're eating fast food, or how can they possibly eat that way? That's so bad for their brain, or just kind of these types of comments where you have no idea what's going on in their life, where they are eating fast food, or, you know, you're judging the size of their body and what they're eating and coming to the conclusion that they must never eat because of the size of their body. And so that's also a really, really hard conversation. Another principle of normal eating is you can leave some food on the plate. You don't have to clean your plate. A lot of us grew up with the notion that I couldn't get away from the table until I clean my plate. I even had one client one time who her guardians and her family made her sit at the table till 3 a.m. until she finished her food. And I mean, I give her a lot of credit. She stood her ground and she refused to eat the food, but she had to sit there by herself until 3 a.m. and like life was happening behind her. How invalidating, how like you just feel ignored. You feel like, oh gosh, just the passive aggressiveness in that behavior. You wanted to like reach over and just hug her and say, oh my gosh, I see you. You didn't want to eat the food. Let's move on. You can try again tomorrow. And so there's just so much morality upon whether you finish your food, you don't finish your food, that is just unnecessary. But it's just so common in our culture. Another sign of normal eating is it takes up one part of your life, one area of your life, and it is important to have health as a pillar. When you don't have your health, it really can feel just your lack of control. It can feel very chaotic. And so I definitely feel that you can have priority in your health choices, but when it becomes your whole entire life, where it's all you think about, it's all you talk about, it's, you know, a whole budget line, an extra mortgage on your house, which is a little dramatic, because of your food quality, that can become obsessive. That can become, you know, what is happening where you're unable to socialize with other families because of the food choices. Is that actually what you want to model for your family, that we can't interact with their family because they eat differently? Which there are religious and there's definitely different culture boundaries, there can be creative solutions around that. But if it becomes so you're isolating yourself or your family because they're unable to interact because of food choices, that can become problematic. That can become dysfunctional. Not one time, just when it becomes chronic. Other signs of normal eating is you're able to notice that some days you're going to feel uncomfortable in your body, and that's really normal. Some days you're going to feel great in your body, and that's really normal. A lot of times I work with people that are just so uncomfortable with bloating, and they go to all the extremes to get rid of bloating. Now, there can be very extreme cases of bloating where it can be, chronic and just so uncomfortable, and that's absolutely terrible. Heartburn and lower GI is very painful, so I'm not invalidating that. But when it comes from, I have some clients that make jokes such as, they feel like they have a food baby. And so you kind of look at the joke around that, and it's a way to kind of make light that they're feeling uncomfortable in their body and they don't know how to say that. So they make a light joke of it. So they're able to express the uncomfortableness, but not actually say, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable in my body. And so there is now a whole subculture of wellness to try to work on GI distress and different things, which can be very, very valuable if you're uncomfortable and you're having lots of diarrhea or constipation. But some of the clients that I work with, it becomes about the figure. It becomes about the way their body is showing up in the world, not about the GI function. And that can be very confusing to navigate. Another normal sign of eating is you're able to enjoy it. You're able to be present and taste your food. In our culture, so many things are competing for our attention right now, so it's so hard to do that. But what would it be like to close your eyes and actually taste the flavors of your food? What would that be like? Do you have space for that? Can you do that? When you're using a sense in your body, you're actually bringing your brain to the present. So identify your taste in your dinner tonight. It's dinner time in the West Coast. It's past dinner time on the East Coast. So next time you eat, just see if you can slow down, take 10 minutes, and identify the flavors of your food. We call that the phase of cephalic phase of digestion. It's a very mindful eating exercise, and you're just slowing the brain down. When you slow down, you can actually develop new neural networks, new kind of connections in the brain that shows your brain, I can slow the hamster wheel down. I can be present, and it'll speed back up eventually, but just practice slowing down. At your meals will make you more attuned to fullness cues, will make you more attuned to hunger cues, and can make you more attuned to the flavors of your food, which again will help with the enjoyment of the food. Okay, so those are some signs of normal eating. I just did a video on signs of disordered eating on my YouTube channel. I would love for you to check it out. This will go up on my YouTube channel eventually, and I would love for you to like and subscribe and follow along. And thank you so much for supporting. Hi, Mr. Arroyo. You are always on and supporting. I talked about you the other day to Coach Almedo. I was just saying how I just thoroughly enjoyed our interactions, 20 years ago, and just how awesome it is that we're still in each other's lives. So thank you so much. I'm actually hopping off, so you'll have to go back and watch the beginning. But thank you so much for your support, for everybody. And if you catch the replay and this is helpful, please let me know, and have a wonderful Thursday. Okay, bye.